Hi, welcome back to Recap Cinema. Today I will recap the next episodes of Secret Invasion. In the aftermath of being shot by Gravik, Gaia manages to survive as she used Rosa Dalton's knowledge to use the Skrull power replicator and gave herself the extremist regeneration. Back in 2012, Nick Fury meets with Vera in Paris as the two discuss the Battle of New York and Fury's involvement with the Avengers. They both then share a bonding moment, reciting Raymond Carver's Lost Fragment and getting closer to each other. In the present, Vera goes to James's church, where she talks to Rava, a Skrull that has been impersonating James Rhodes. Rhodes tells her that Fury must be killed, but Vera tries to get him to reconsider, saying that Fury is no longer the man he used to be and his death is unnecessary. Rhodes does not agree and tells her to proceed, while Fury is listening to their conversation via wiretap. Meanwhile, Gravik and the rest of the Skrull resistance are preparing for an upcoming attack that they are going to blame the Russians for, while Gravik tells Pagan that Gaia was a mole and had to be killed. Talos meets with Gaia near a lake, blaming himself for putting his daughter in harm's way, but she insists that she was only acting on her free will. Gaia asks Talos if he has a plan to find a new home for the Skrulls, to which he replies that by stopping Gravik's insurgency, they will get a favor from the world leaders and especially the American president, which would mean amnesty for the Skrulls and the permission to stay on Earth. Gaia is not pleased with the idea, considering that they would still not be able to live on Earth as themselves and always keep themselves disguised. Talos tells her that Skrulls can and must earn humans' goodwill to stay on their planet, to which Gaia calls him delusional and leaves. Vera returns home where she encounters Fury making tea. He tells her that marrying her was the biggest mistake of his life because he found out about her plot with Rhodes to kill him. Vera tells him the story of the actual Priscilla Davis, a dying woman whose likeness she assumed. Vera was looking for a woman who could slip through Fury's defenses and ask if Davis wanted to find love before death, and she allowed Vera to take her identity on the promise she would never hurt Fury and stay faithful to him. Listening to this, Fury starts reciting Raymond Carver's Lost Fragment poem, which Vera repeats, and then both pull out their guns and fire, but neither shoots each other. Fury jokingly wonders whether he and Vera should solidify their marriage or call a divorce, and then he leaves. Rava gets out of the bath and changes to Rhodes. Fury visits Rhodes at his hotel suite with a bottle of wine, acting like he still does not know that he's talking to an imposter. Fury informs him that Skrulls have infiltrated the American government and got close to President Ritson himself, proposing to Rhodes that he would remain silent in exchange for being reinstated. Instead, Rhodes shows him some footage from Moscow of Gravik murdering Maria Hill while disguised as Fury. He uses it as leverage to keep Fury quiet and tells him to leave his hotel. Afterward, Rhodes leaves, unaware that Fury and Talos are tailing him, using a liquid tracker and a wine that Fury brought. Rhodes then welcomes Ritson, who had arrived in England for emergency peace talks with Russia. Rhodes tries to convince the president to go on the offensive, but he turns him down and leaves the airfield in a large convoy. As President Ritson is being escorted by the United States Secret Service, Rhodes gives Gravik a signal and the resistance attacks the convoy, posing as Russian soldiers. While Ritson is incapacitated, the Secret Service agents fight the resistance but are largely outgunned and cut down until Fury and Talos arrive to aid them. Seeing this, Gravik starts using his Super Skrull abilities to kill soldiers. Soon, British reinforcements also arrive. Talos tries to break into the car to get Ritson out but gets shot in the shoulder by Pagan, which makes it harder to maintain a human form. Wounded and back in his Skrull form, Talos keeps going and eventually gets the unconscious Ritson out of the car. The British soldier comes to Talos' aid, but Fury immediately realizes that he is an imposter. He promptly shoots the soldier, who turns out to be Gravik, before he fatally stabs Talos in the chest. As Talos falls to the ground, Fury empties his gun into Gravik's head, but to his shock, Gravik is barely fazed, merely glaring at Fury as the extremist heals his bullet wounds. As Gravik and Pagan retreat from the scene upon seeing the approaching cavalry, Fury is forced to evacuate Ritson, leaving Talos' body behind. Nick Fury brings unconscious Ritson to the hospital and tries to warn him not to trust James Rhodes. The nurse does not allow him to enter the ward, so he takes a chair and sits guard as he watches the news of Talos' image on the television. On the other hand, Gravik and the rest of the Skrull resistance return to the new Skrullos, with Pagan looking angry. Gravik asks to gather other resistance members and comments on their failed mission. He mentions that if Pagan was able to acquire the harvest, it would not be a problem. In response, Pagan criticizes Gravik for refraining from killing Fury, who never told Gravik the Avengers' DNA's location, questioning if the Resistance should trust him as well. Gravik kills Pagan for getting out of line before berating other Resistance members and explaining that Fury was able to intercept them today only because Vera did not complete her mission. He then orders a hit on Vera. Beto is also dissatisfied after seeing Pagan dead. Gravik then contacts Rhodes and calls off the attack on Ritson, instead ordering him to tell him about Skrulls and convince him that they work with Russia, revealing the location of New Skrullos. He intends to use it as leverage on Fury, who would not want a full-scale war and the death of innocent Skrulls and humans. Fury confronts Rhodes at the hospital, but he tells him that if he does not let him go, the footage of Fury killing Maria Hill will be sent to the mass media. Fury lets Rhodes go and warns him that he is coming for Gravik, but he replies that Fury should tell to him personally. In London, Derek Weatherby watches a news report on Fury killing Hill and his involvement with an attack on Ritson. He gets visited by Sonia, who points a gun at him and demands him to tell her where to find Rosa Dalton. She then shoots Weatherby, and as the other agents arrive, they realize that Weatherby was actually a Skrull. Falsworth threatens Weatherby with death, forcing him to tell her what he knows about Dalton and where to find her. Back at New Skrullos, Gravik gets approached by Beto and some other Skrulls, but then receives a call from Rhodes, who updates him on Ritson's condition. As soon as he hangs up, several Skrulls, including Beto, rebel against Gravik and attempt to kill him. Gravik overpowers them and drags Beto out, yelling at the remaining Skrulls and asking who else wants to challenge him. Beto calls Gravik a monster and Gravik kills him, which leaves other Skrulls horrified. Fury walks on the streets of Brixton and enters the safe haven of Skrulls. He meets with Gaia and tells her about why he chose this place as a safe house for the Skrulls. Because in the Second World War, the area was demolished by the Nazis, and afterward, it became a safe haven for immigrants from the West Indies. Afterward, he tells her that Talos is dead, claiming that his fight was not meaningless, and he chose a path of struggle of his own will. Gaia thinks his father was a loser and he died on a foreign planet. They discuss Gravik's Super Skrull experiments, and Gaia tells him that Gravik stole the DNA of Cull Obsidian and Groot, but only because he could not find what he wanted, which is the harvest. Fury is troubled by that revelation and tells Gaia that she should bury her father and that he is going to Finland. He leaves the building just as the police arrive. The Daltons find that Sonia is in their residence and threaten her to leave when the British agents arrive and confront the scientists on their research of the Skrull power replicator. Once Falsworth finds out what she needed, she orders her agents to burn down the laboratory. Victor frees himself and takes Rosa as her hostage, claiming that he will not let anyone betray Gravik. Unamused, Falsworth kills Victor with a headshot, leaving only Rosa alive and terrified. As Ritson wakes up, Rhodes tells him that the attack on him was orchestrated by Skrulls, who are working with the Russians. He shows Ritson a satellite image of New Skrullos, saying that the United States must neutralize the facility to stop the upcoming invasion. Ritson says that bombing on Russian soil would mean World War III, to which Rhodes replies that war is preferable to extinction. Gravik contacts Fury and tells him about his leverage, demanding he brings the harvest to him, and he will not let America bomb Russia. Later, Rick Mason helps Fury to get to Finland, providing him with fake passports, now that Interpol issued a red notice on him. On the other hand, as Fury advised her, Gaia takes Talos' body to Vera's house. She enters the home with her gun and meets her, asking her help with the funeral. They take the body outside and burn it just like the Skrulls burn their dead. As Gaia and Vera finish with the funeral, Vera tells Gaia that she loves this house so much that she will make her last stand here and wait for the Skrulls to attack. Soon as they are talking, the Resistance attacks them in an attempt to assassinate Vera. They run to get supplies and guns and successfully fend off the Skrulls. Fury arrives in Finland with the fake identity of a white man. He gets joined by Sonia, and he reveals that Gravik is planning to have New Skrulls bomb with all the innocent Skrulls and trap humans. She asks why would he threaten his own people, to which Fury says that Gravik wants him to harvest a collection of the Avengers' DNA sampled after the Battle of Earth. Fury was in charge of collecting the samples, and no one else knew about it except Gravik, because he worked with Fury at that time. Later, they reach a cemetery and Fury explains that he chose Finland because he had his honeymoon with Vera here. Fury collects the harvest from one of his gravesite storages and confirms Sonia's suspicions that he is planning to give it away. He then acquires his eye patch and the weapons before taking off for the last stand against Gravik. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this.